Sako and Adnan from the JobHax team. I will be going through our presentation now, and then Sako will go over the demo. To start, first of all, I will talk about JobHax. So if we talk about the employee background check market and take some facts. So basically, 96% of US employers conduct at least one type of background check when they want to employ someone. And another fact is that 34% of CVs contained at least lies about experience, education, and ability to perform essential functions and jobs. And another statistic we know that more than 58% of HR employers quote a lie on a resume with the candidates lying about everything from their skill set to their employment history. So here we can see that we really have a problem here with all the lies in the CVs, and employers are aware of that problem because 96% of them are conducting checks on the CVs. So we have a real problem, and we have the audience that is aware of that problem and know that this problem exists. So we really have a market here. The Association of Certified Fraud Examiners estimates that resume fraud costs employer roughly about $600 billion per year. If we are talking about the United States alone, think globally how much does this cost. So we're talking about a huge market here. How are these problems handled today? So basically, we have background check services. We have agencies that just you hand them the CV, and they go and do the checks. They call every university in the resume. They call the police to check the criminal record. They call every former employer to see that the record is right. And this service took about 2 to 5 working days, and it costs up to $100 per hire. And basically, if you don't want to hire an agency and you want to do it myself, it will be risky because you won't be able to do it by yourself, and it will also cost you some man-hour, so it will also cost you money. So really, there is no perfect solution for the problem yet, the way things happen today. So here is where JobHax enters to the picture. JobHax to background check services will be like Truecaller to phone books. Once upon a time, we used phone books when we want to know the number of someone. It required a lot of job. It required to look over names and numbers manually. It took us a lot of time, and we needed first to be called by someone or to have any number, and then we can know that who this number belongs to. But now with Truecaller, for example, we can know who's calling us the minute they call us, and it happens automatically. This is what we want to do in JobHax with background checks. So let's see how we will do it. So a quick solution overview. We will basically put the records on the blockchain, and they will be encrypted on the blockchain. So validating entities will upload hashes of the records on the blockchain, and they will be signed with the entity's private key. This way, we know that the information is valid and it's encrypted, and no one can know exactly what is on the blockchain because everything is encrypted and hashed. But we know that the record is here, and we can know who signed it with the public key of the entity. I'll talk later why entities would be interested to do this, so what is the motivation. But let's for now assume that entities will put a record of the records on the blockchain, and then any checking entity, like if an employer wants to check if the candidate has the degree he's claiming to have, so the checking entity will enter the record they want to check to the blockchain, and its hash will be compared with hashes on the blockchain to see if this record already exists. In case of a match, we will know that this record is valid. So by this, you can instantly know if a record is valid or not. So what is our value proposition? What are we adding here? First of all, a match will mean that the record is 100% valid. There is no place for human error here. You cannot say that something is valid when the blockchain doesn't give you a match. Second of all, data on the blockchain is encrypted, so we are keeping everything is secret, and the privacy of the candidate is also saved. But putting something in a public blockchain doesn't mean that the information itself is public, because we are just putting an encrypted info on the blockchain. And everything is encrypted and safe. Also, a very important point is that the validation happens without interrupting the validating entity. Once a validating entity posts the record on the blockchain, we don't need to bother her every time in a while and call and ask about some candidate or ask about someone and check a record and check if it's right, because we can simply go to the blockchain without interrupting this entity and check the information we want to check. Also, our solution will also give a validation that takes no time and in the fraction of the cost. You can simply just put the record and the computer will give you the answer instantly. And another huge advantage that we have is that companies now will be able to do the background check for candidates even before interviewing the candidate. The way things are handled now is that they wait and they interview a few people. Then when they go to their final candidate, they go and they check their background. Because this process costs a lot of money and takes time, they cannot do it for every candidate they have. But now with our solutions, they can do the background check before interviewing, and this can save them a lot of man hours of interviewing, which are precious for them. Imagine companies that have 2 or 3 engineers that need to interview a candidate. We are talking about expensive interviews here. All of this will be saved with our solution. As I mentioned, the validating entities will have the interest of putting everything on the blockchain so that it will have higher credibility and they will not be interrupted every time that someone wants to check a record. And the entities checking background will have an easier access to this information. So it's a win-win for everyone. And also the candidate itself will be a winner, because now, for example, their former employer will not know that someone is checking their background, and this will give the employee more freedom to look for a new job and new opportunities, because he knows that everything will be confidential. And their employer or former employer will not be notified when someone is checking their background. So we are giving really a win-win situation here for everyone. If we want to talk about the market size, so the background check services on the US market in 2020 is a more than $3 billion market we are talking about. This market grew by more than 4% in the last 5 years. And the last year alone, this market grew in about 2%, 1.9% in 2020 alone. So we're talking about a huge market that is continuing to grow. It's not, this market is continuing to grow and will reach higher numbers in the future. And if I want to talk about addressable market, a market that the share that we can take, so it's somewhere between $50 and $100 million. So we're talking about a real problem here, as I mentioned in the first slide, a real problem with a solution that really takes the industry steps forward, and we are talking about a huge market as well. Regarding our business model, the only business model today that exists is like a cost per hire. But what we can offer for companies here is that they can have a subscription packages where they can take the package that perfectly fits their needs, and it will cost them much lower than the normal solution that they have today. And of course, for smaller businesses, we'll have packages that meet their needs as well, and the process will become much more easier for them as well. So we will offering this as a subscription, and we can also go give one-time checks if for small businesses if needed. So this is our general approach. Regarding our team, no?
Yeah, please go on.
Mhm. So now you are meeting the JobHax core team. We are Sako from the USA, Adnan Masri, Israel, Irfan Mansouri from India, and Babtudi Ursula from Nigeria. A very diverse team. We had very different time zones. It was hard to catch up, but we were able to do it. So this is who we are, and this is our core idea. Thank you, everyone. This was our pitch deck, and now I will move to Sako, so where he can introduce the demo. Sako.
Yeah.
Now it's you.
Yeah, let's start now the demo part.